Hello everyone, what's up? Moses here, and today we're going to talk about the Glacial Cascade Miner. I've been wanting to do one like this, this revised build guide for a while now, and it's going to be a long video guide. We're going to talk about all the alternatives, so sit back, relax, enjoy yourselves, and let's dive into all the explanations. There is a lot to talk about. Alright, Glacial Cascade. Let's first talk about the gem itself. It is a spell that deals cold damage. It will work with AoE. It is also a crit build, so AoE tag, crit multi for spells, crit multi for cold skills, crit multi for elemental skills, area damage, global physical damage, spell damage are all going to affect the damage for a build like this. 60% of the physical is converted to cold, which means we need to worry about the remaining 40%. There are several ways to do this. The cheapest and easiest way is to get physical to lightning gem. Boom, problem solved. When you get a bit more currency, physical lightning basically will convert the remaining 40% to lightning, so that your spell will be mostly cold and some lightning as well. Yeah. When you get more, throughout the league, you get, a bit more currency. You're able to invest in some better things. The best option for you is to get a Shaper's Helmet with the Helm enchant of Glacial Cascade, physical damage converted to cold. This will convert the 40% that you still need to cold, then you have 60 plus 40, that's 100% conversion to cold from the Helm enchant. Make sure that it is a Shaper's Helmet. We're going to go back to that in a second. The last way, that my least favorite way, is the Long Winter Jewel. I'm here just to mention it. I'm not a big fan, but you can absolutely do it. And yeah, I mean, some players do it. It's excellent. It works great, but I'm not a fan. Reason why I'm not a fan is because Long Winter Jewel makes it so that you have to sacrifice 4 skill points on the tree, which is, in my opinion, a lot. 20% converted each jewel, means you need 2 of them. 2 will convert 40 total, and you'll have 100% just like the Helm enchant. Alright, I understand early in the league it is a bit hard to get a Shaper's Helmet with the Glacial Cascade Helm enchant like I have on my character level 100 miner over here, but you don't have to. Physical to lightning, in my opinion, is a better choice. That's really up to you. Try it, see what you do, see what you like. I'm personally not a fan of sacrificing 4 points when all you need is physical lightning that not only converts but also gives us a 30% more multiplier. Physical as extra lightning, and we are crit build, so we can shock. Shocking means monsters take more damage. Physical lightning is definitely not a bad option. Alright, but ideally you want to convert with cold to cold with Helm enchant. If you really insist, Long Winter will work as well. You can try that. Alright, conversion, and let's talk about the Helm enchant. It has to be Shaper because there's a thing with saboteurs. Traps and mines have a Shaper mod that makes you throw an additional trap or place an additional mine. What does that mean? Simply, what it means is that instead of placing, well, right now I have 5, but instead of placing, normally you would place 4. If you don't have the Helm enchant, you will place only 3. Right? Oops, double clicked it. So 1, 2, 3, and with the Helm enchant, it makes it 4. Not the Helm enchant, excuse me. The Helm Shaper's mod, place an additional mine. That means between 3 to 4. The transition is 33% more damage straight up. Placing an additional mine and detonating 4 instead of 3 means we have 4 Glacial Cascades out at any given time instead of 3. It is huge, which means conversion on the helmet is not a priority. Alright? If you see a helmet on PU Trade that has a conversion, don't take it. Take additional mine, craft it yourself, or buy something off of PoE Trade. Alright, crafting yourself is an option. You can use alterations, until you hit a nice roll. It is a suffix, as you can see right here. Remote mine, place additional mine. It's a hybrid suffix. So ideally what you want is to hit a good life roll as prefix. Second ideal is good mana roll as prefix, and then get the suffix remote mine. And then you use a regal orb. Try to hit a resist, you know, a single resist, and then you have a second resist because you can craft something on the helm, on the crafting bench, or you can craft increased mine laying speed like I did. And then ideally you have pretty easily crafted life, additional mine laying speed, and a single resist, which makes for a terrific helmet that you can use pretty comfortably. If it is a helm enchant helm, the same idea. It is still a rare. Alterations, regals until you hit something that you feel comfortable with. If you're playing Soul Self-Found and you're low on resources like I am, stop whenever you see the remote mine. It took me about 700 or 800 alterations to hit that remote mine, and then I had the life roll, it rolled excellent, and then I regaled armor, and then I just had exalts, so I was kind of hoping to hit a resist. I didn't hit a resist. I hit, the increased area of effect and strength. Unfortunately, instead of, I kind of wanted hybrid life. I wanted, you can craft, I'm going to show you here on my profile. This is also Soul Self-Found crafted, by the way. Oh no, this is not Soul Self-Found. This is Chaos Spammed. It has lightning damage to spells, right? This is a prefix as well that you can slam, you can get on a Shaper's helmet. So something like that is pretty decent, of course. But place the additional mine, that's really what you want on the helmet. Alright, moving on, Shaper's helmet must have the links. The links, basic links, will be GC, Minefield, Remote Mine, and Trap and Mine damage. Alright, now there are several different ways. If you have no other way to convert, fifth link will be Fizz to Lightning. If you have a way to convert, fifth link will be increased critical strikes. If you have a way to convert and you have a sixth link, then increased critical strikes, cold penetration, hypothermia, control destruction, increased AoE, concentrated effect for single target and for area clearing are your options. Separately, if you have the perfect ideal situation of a helm enchant, Shapers with additional mine, and you have a Watcher's Eye, there is a Watcher's Eye that makes it so that while you're affected by hatred, maximum roll is 1.82 critical strike chance while affected by hatred. Basically, if you have that Watcher's Eyes, that means that you can remove a gem link, increase critical strikes. 20 critical strikes gives a big chunk of critical strikes. I would remove increased critical strikes and instead use a Watcher's Eye, and then I have a free link on my chest so that I could use the gems I already mentioned. Hypothermia, cold penetration, conk effect, control destruction, increased AoE, all of these are good gems to use. Alright, there you go. Never elemental focus though, because you want to chill and you want to freeze and you want to shadow enemies. So elemental focus never, because cold we definitely want the elements, which is freeze in this case. So this is my base 4 link, and this is all there is to say about the links. Unique items for the build. First and foremost, I mean, you see it, the lore weave, it's insane, it's really good. Not much to say about it. Lore weave is acquired by, if you don't know that, it is acquired by collecting unique rings. When you fill in 60 rings, which is basically your entire stash tab, or inventory, I guess I should say. This is your inventory, this is your stash. So half a stash, full inventory full of unique rings. This is why I'm collecting them. You vendor, and you get a lore weave. This is the lore weave recipe. Alright, you can then use divine orbs until you have reasonable rolls. It has all sorts of variants. I kind of rolled lowest life possible almost, but the rest of the rolls are great, and I am playing Soul Self-Found, so I'm saving my divines. I got 14 now, and I want to keep them because once they're gone, they're gone. And yeah, It basically can roll 76, 77, or 78 maximum resistance. This is the most important stat. Your maximum resistance are 78 is the most important stat here. But yeah, this is not a lore wave guide. This is GC, and there is a lot to talk about. Second, or I guess same tier chest would be a Carcass Jack. Also, an insane body armor, gives us big area effect, big area damage, life, and resists. It is evasion energy shield, which means it's going to be useful for all your trap and all your mine builds, right? All the miners, all the trappers basically want blue and green sockets. So low wave is going to be a bit harder to get because it's armor and energy shield, while Carcass Jack is going to be a bit easier to get the colors because it's evasion energy shield. So green and blue is much easier. Other unique items for the build, I don't know if I mentioned, but Clear Mind Essence Swarm is a great combo. Essence Swarm makes it so that we could use Hatred Aura, as we mentioned before. We can use the Watcher's Eyes, but just on its own, Hatred makes it so that we get physical as extra cold, and we get more cold damage. If I were to use the Hatred Aura right now, you know, 50% mana, but instead of 23, we're going to get 29. That's 6, maybe 7k DPS increase right there. It's huge. And of course, you know, big part of my damage is lightning, so it doesn't really affect the lightning damage, only the more cold damage. So it will affect the cold portion of the skill, not the lightning. So if I had full conversion, Hatred would be even more effective. But still, even without it, it is the aura, the way to go. It is huge for our build, and I cannot use it until I get the Essence Swarm. Essence Swarm is a ring that has no stats except increased mana reserved. So we get penalized if we reserved anything other than the gem that is socketed. We're getting +2 level of socketed gem, and we get no mana reserve for the socketed gem. So instead of reserving 50%, we're reserving 0, and we sacrifice a ring slot. So instead of having life, mana resist, and all that kind of stuff on a ring slot, we have an Essence Swarm, but it is totally worth it if we manage to get our resistance in check. We get a huge aura, which is a huge damage boost for our character. I can't stress that enough. I wish we already dropped it. Yeah. Great combo is Clear Mind. When you have 40 to 60% increased spell damage while no mana is reserved. If you are in, you know, Trade League, make sure you get a 55 plus. Don't use a low tier Clear Mind. Make sure to get the best out of your jewel socket in the tree. It is 2 points after all, and you want a decent roll, 55, 56 or higher. And as well, nice little mana regeneration bonus that we get here. Outside of that, the last unique and extremely important one is Lavianga's Spirit. Lavianga's Spirit is a flask. Before we have it, okay, when we first start out the character, we don't need the flask, but it is very, very nice to have. But before we do, we're using catalyzed mana flask of curing or of dowsing. Curing makes sure that we remove poison. Dowsing removes ignite. Now, normally we will be immune to ignite. I'm going to talk about it in a second, but until we are, ignite is very good to have the immunity on. So, catalyzed eternal mana must have flask until you get Lavianga's. But yeah, I mean, I killed Shaper. I believe it was with just a regular flask. So it's definitely doable to do everything in the game, but it will be more comfortable to do it with Lavianga's. Basically, what it means, catalyzed means that we get increased recovery rate, right? So when we're placing mines, each one costs us 59 mana. So that's kind of a lot. And yeah, let's deplete that. And when we use our mana flask, this is how we recover. The thing is, though, that if we, as you see, you know, when we use the mana flask here, our skills still cost mana. So that makes it so that our mana is not going up as high, you know, as it could, which means that if we're monsters attacking us and we're taking damage because we are mind over matter, which means that 30% of damage taken is coming from mana before life, It does increases our affected health pool, but that also means that we could be, you know, stranded without mana, stuck, and without the ability until waiting for the mana to regenerate from the flask. And during that time we're vulnerable because we cannot lay down mines, we cannot cast our spells, monsters keep attacking us, and we are in a rough situation. Laviagas fixes all of that. What it means is that basically it has the unique line that says your skills have no mana cost during Flask effect. So during Flask effect, when we press the Flask, skill costs no mana. Oh wait, yeah. I mean, it doesn't have any mana cost at all. So that means we can still see 59, 0 mana cost. We can still lay down mines, and our mana is going to go up, which means we're going to be way more survivable. The rest of the flasks, since we're mentioning it, instant life flask of staunching, bubbling, or seething. Atziri's Promise is double dipping because this is a physical spell that converts to elemental. So we're getting physical as extra, and then we're getting elemental as extra, which means when we press the flask, boom, 28,000. That's 5k. That's almost like a hatred aura right there from the flask. Chemist Diamond Flask of Heat makes it so that our crit chance is lucky. What lucky means is the game is going to roll crit chance twice. Alright, our crit chance right now is like 30% or something. It doesn't matter. Where is it? Offense, crit chance, 35% without power charges, right? So that means the game needs to roll, you know, it rolls a number between 0 to 1. If it's 0.354 or lower, we will crit. If it's higher, we won't crit, right? That's how chances work. And lucky means that it's going to roll the number twice and going to choose the lucky roll. So it's going to roll it twice, and we have twice the chance of getting the 0.354 or lower, so that we are twice as likely to crit. That's what Diamond Flask does. So we must have this Diamond Flask on, right? And this is of course without power charges. We're gonna get around 40-ish%, and I still don't have 6-link, so I don't have crit. But even with this, we just killed Uber Elder. There's the Uber Elder fight in the previous video if you want to check it out. Chemist Diamond of Heat, and then Heat for the, you know, of course, removal of chills, freezes, immunity to chills and freezes, and then Experimenters of Warding. Some people use Alchemist. I don't like Alchemist. I like to have 6.2 second duration and 2 uses of my flask, so that when I use it, you know, I can still flame dash. I'm pretty quick, and it lasts, look, 6 seconds, such a long time. I've been talking. It's such an insanely long time, and you can use it twice, right? So you can use Alchemist to increase the effect, make you quicker, but it reduces substantially the duration from 6 to like 3 seconds or whatever. I like Experimenters. You guys do whatever you want. The important part here is that you will get Warding. Flask Warding makes us immune to curses, so we don't care about elemental weakness, temp chains, all the map mods, all hex font monsters that curses us. We don't care about all of that, and I like to have it on my lengthy duration movement speed flask, especially in temp chains maps. You know, you need to move on sometimes to the next pack. That's a little something that I feel comfortable with, but yeah, all up to you. Alright, so we covered everything basically. Let's talk about the Ascendancy and then the rest of the links. Ascendancy, we are Saboteur. I'm not going to talk about the tree, it's pretty much I mean, maybe I'll cover it a little bit, but yeah. Ascendancy, this is Saboteur. Our first and second will be Bomb Specialist and Demolition Specialist. I mean, they're just insane. Give us a lot of damage, a lot of quality of life, a lot of air effect, a lot of, you know, mine laying speed, all that kind of stuff. Everything that we need to be an actual miner and to be able to have a smooth gameplay. The other two nodes, by the way, this is Trap nodes and this is Mine nodes, right? So Trapper, Miner. We are Miners, so we're going Demolition and Bomb Specialist. And then you have Pyromaniac, Born in the Shadows, and Explosive Expert. Pyromaniac, in my opinion, is a must-have because it gives you immune to ignite, immune to shock, and an insane life regeneration. I'm just going to show it to you here. Okay, let's do it this way. We're just going to use like Righteous Fire, see how it bleeds us out, and then it's going to turn off. Alright, let's look at our defense, and look at our life regeneration per second. See, it's 41, but when I'm laying down mines, see how it instantly jumps to 1.6 K? See it, our life regeneration. In 5 seconds, we're gonna fill up our life completely. Alright, so we can, in theory, like run with a... I mean, obviously we're going to need mana. But like, check this out, it's kind of dumb, right? It's kind of dumb, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, damage is useless, but yeah, whatever. You get the idea. We're covering 1k life per second. It is huge, very good also for labs, for traps, because, yeah, it could get painful. And you're like kind of like stuck in the corner. All you gotta do is lay down some mines, detonate them, and you get that 1k life regen. Easy clap. So it really is up to you what you choose, but between Explosive Experts or Born in the Shadows. But Pyromaniac is insane with the life regen and also the mana cost of skills. This is 20% less mana cost, 25% less mana cost of skills. So right now we're at 60 mana, so imagine 25% less. It was a lot higher, right? Maybe 80-ish. So there you go. That's Pyromaniac, immune to Ignite, life regen, reduce mana cost, immune to Shock. Second is, for me, right now, Explosive Expert. I am so self-found and 5 link. I need the damage, my gear is garbage, and I needed Explosive Expert. It gives us area effect, area damage, damage penetration, 3 things that I really don't have any other source of getting into. I'm not even picking up the area effect nodes on the tree. I don't even have Carcass Jack. I only have, you know, the area that I have from here, and it is, as you can see, covers just everything, right? So that comes from the area of Explosive Expert. That's why I need it, and that's why I'm using it. But, you know, you can definitely, if you are in Trade League and have access to better items, better gear, 6-link, proper, you know, weapons, proper items, you could totally go Born in the Shadows. It is insane. Basically what it does is, sure, enemies that are blinded takes, you know, 30% increased damage, so that's nice, but mostly it is a huge defensive bonus, which means basically nearby enemies are blinded. This is the, you know, the huge line here that says nearby enemies are blinded. Blinded enemies have their chance to hit you halved, so 50% chance they will hit you, and then when they do hit you, they have to go through another roll of whether, you know, acrobatics improvement, phase acrobatics, right? So when they hit you with an attack or with a spell, they have to go through another roll of defense. That's another defensive layer. That's why I love that's why I love Born in the Shadows, and normally that's what I would choose. Again, self-found, needed damage, went Explosive Expert, but it's really up to you. Okay, you can start as Explosive Expert. I did die quite a lot, but yeah, I mean, I did quite rough content. It doesn't matter. Born in the Shadows is what I would normally choose in a Trade League because I'll have access to good gear, good items and such. In here, SSF, Explosive Expert. So this is the Ascendancy. When it comes to the tree, it is really straightforward. We start as Shadows, we're picking up all the mind damage nodes, picking up the life, the crit. We pick up lethal assault. Normally we would go straight to life and then up here and then get all this cluster of damage and just skip out on trap and mine critical strike chance. We'll pick up everything here except this one single node. After that, these will be allocated, right? After that, we'll pick up, you know, acro, phase acro. We'll go to the life. We'll leave this, you know, we'll leave this for later, but we will pick up the life nodes, and then we'll go up, pick up the life nodes, pick up the crit. We can then connect here and then unspec these nodes. Once we did that, we go straight to the mine cluster, volatile mine. This is a very, very good cluster for ourselves right here with the mine damage nodes. We could get additional mine, but it doesn't really make too much of a difference. I'd rather go to the you know, increased mine damage. This node, by the way, does not mean place an additional mine. It means that instead of maximum of 10, we're going to have 11. But because we're constantly like detonating them, it doesn't really matter for us, right? So I would skip it and instead go through this way. yeah, maybe you can spend another point to get it, but again, that's what I chose. I would get then the crit blast cascade, which generates power charges for us whenever we detonate a mine targeting an enemy, and then we go towards the life node, go towards the crit, pick up mind over matter, pick up the life, pick up quick recovery, go to the Templar, pick up the life, get Light Divinity, Holy Dominion, Devotion, and then start filling in all the things that we left out. We left out the crit and annihilation, we left out deep thoughts, we left out the crit nodes, we left out some more crit nodes, and then we left out the mana and the mana, and then we left out the jewels, and that's pretty much it, right? When we pick up the things that we left off, we should be around level 70-ish, right? And then we start picking up the things that we left off. That's basically it. The tree is really straightforward. Obviously, there's going to be a link of the tree at the bottom, the information. Right. Utility links that we are using in the build. First, let's talk about cast when damage taken. I'm using 2 cast when damage taken. First is cast when damage taken Immortal Call. Even after the nerf, it really is still decent. It gives us elemental and physical damage reduction, right? Less elemental, less physical damage for 1 second. Whatever, I'll take it. 3-second cooldown, which means we'll have a, decent way of mitigating our damage through Immortal Call. So cast when damage taken, Immortal Call, and Enfeeble makes monsters deal less damage. This is our curse for the build, and it is auto cast with cast when damage taken. Detonate Mines is also linked. Detonate Mines was changed. You can now purchase it from what's her name, Lily Roth, in the epilogue, right? Purchase items, last tab. There's a special tab. It's only 1 transmute. You can buy it now, so you do not need to wait for it, and you don't need to buy it off of pure trade. This gem is now purchasable from Lily Roth once you kill Kitava in Act 10. Detonate Mines, Immortal Call, Enfeeble, and cast when damage taken. Work your way with cast when damage taken. Make sure that you're taking, enough damage, and make sure that the gems that are linked, that are supported, are level X or lower, based on, just read cast when damage taken blue text. I'm not going to go through it over here. Next cast when damage taken setup is very important as well. Here we got Wave of Conviction and Frost Bomb. Currently, we have a thing called exposure. Monster can be affected by 1 exposure, but we have lightning and we have cold, right? So Frost Bomb will provide the cold, and Wave of Conviction will provide the lightning. Basically what it means is whenever you're taking damage, it's just a level 1 cast when damage taken. This I accidentally leveled, but it doesn't matter. It still qualifies. So you just need level 1, level 1. You don't need to increase the level of these gems. Enemies that are hit by that are going to get cold exposure, meaning they're going to take 25% more, cold damage, 25% cold penetration, whatever you want to call it. And you got to make sure that you're dealing lightning damage more than the rest of the elements if you want to get the elemental lightning exposure to the monsters, right? So your Wave of Conviction is a physical skill initially. You don't need to convert anything. Just make sure that you look at the tooltip and see that you got a little bit of cold, a little bit of lightning, a little bit of cold, physical, and fire, a little bit of chaos, but a big lightning damage. All right, that comes from lightning damage to spells that I have somewhere on my right here. Lightning damage to spells. Without it, without it I don't have the skill gem, but you can imagine that we need that little bit of lightning damage to make lightning damage be the highest damage taken, because that's what Wave of Conviction says. Exposure applies 25 elemental resistant matching, highest damage taken. So you want the lightning here if you have physical lightning. If not, then just Frost Bomb cast when damage taken should be enough. Other links I have, of course, since the changes, Val Righteous Fire and Increased Duration. These are just gems that I'm leveling, irrelevant. So Val Righteous Fire and Increased Duration. Val Righteous Fire is a big more multiplier, and we want Increased Duration and we basically want to use it on cooldown. There is another thing that I currently cannot craft on boots, that says this craft right here. This can go on boots. Non-Val skills deals X damage increase during soul gain prevention. Soul gain prevention is when you cannot gain souls to stack up your Val Righteous Fire. You'll see a red chain on the Val skill. This is your soul gain prevention. During that time, and with increased duration, you will basically make sure that your Val Righteous Fire is going to have a lengthy duration, but as well, increased duration will affect soul gain prevention. The time until you're allowed to stack more souls for your next activation of your Val Righteous Fire. We can simply demonstrate this here. Let's go to my favorite Act 9, Blood Aqueducts. In case you don't know, it is actually pretty important. Huh, we proc the prophecy, awesome. So, okay, let's first... Alright, so this is our Val skill, it's not ready to use. Alright, let's just wait until 6 seconds until everything is off. Alright, so now we can use our Val Righteous Fire. 23.3, when we pop it, that means it's going to be 29.8, 28% more awesome. You see also the red chain on the skill itself. This is soul gain prevention, right? We cannot gain souls to stack up to our next Val Righteous Fire activation. During that time, if we have this craft, we can get 51 to 60% increased damage, which is huge. Alright, this is a little pro tip from me, guys. This is a suffix, which means it's going to take the place of a resist. This is not going to be available all the time, but every once in a while, if you manage your gear properly and you make sure that your gear is well rolled and that it has an open suffix, you can get 60% increase. Alright, that means that piece of gear needs to be pretty top tier to have. But that is an insane increase to your overall non-Val skills, and Glacial Cascade is not a Val skill, so it will gain that damage. This can go on gloves, this can go on boots. Both of these are suffixes, and you can get on gloves pretty much the same roll right here. Not here because you cannot have another suffix. But you can get, I believe, up to 40% on gloves and up to 60% on boots. An insane 100% increased damage during soul gain prevention, which is huge because when your souls are being gained is really the only time where you're not getting any kind of buff out of Val Righteous Fire, because when Val Righteous Fire is up, you're getting a 28% more multiplier, and if you have both of these crafted, you get up to 100% increased damage when your Val Righteous Fire is on soul gain prevention time, which with increased duration means quite a few seconds out there. It's quite a long time. Alright, so now you know that, and yeah, I hope you appreciate it, and I hope you think about that for your next build. Okay, so these are the utilities. Val Righteous Fire. Of course, I have Flame Dash and Arcane Surge. Flame Dash 2020 requires 29 mana cost. Arcane Surge requires 26 to activate, which means every time we use it once, we will also activate Arcane Surge. If you see Arcane Surge, it's about 3k DPS increase. It's like half an aura of you know, a hatred, right? 3k DPS increase, that's a lot. So you always want to make sure that this buff is up, it lasts for 4 seconds. You can link to it increased duration as well, but I have Ice Trap, I'm leveling here, but yeah, you can totally link increased duration for it to last longer, but normally you will move around and this buff will be active without even you paying attention to it, because the cooldown on Flame Dash is pretty short. Last, but definitely not least, a setup that I love to have: Orb of Storms, Innervate, Ice Bite, and Onslaught. Onslaught I, normally didn't, or historically I didn't have, but you know, I played the game a little bit, and I bring you this 4-link setup. It is awesome, it is amazing, and I love it. Orb of Storms does quite a lot of damage, 20,000, you know, with Flask a little bit more, and of course it can crit and all that kind of stuff, but it's not there to do damage. Monsters are pretty weak in general, and when your gem is leveling up, even without actual designated, you know, support gem, like in a traditional sense of giving us more multiplier, like trap and mine damage and such, even without actual support gems, Orb of Storms will do a whole lot of damage, right? It will deal a big chunk, it will kill trash monsters, and you know, trash monsters, when they die, they have a chance of proccing Onslaught, and when they die, and you know, because Orb of Storms will crit, it will freeze, it will shatter. And when monsters die to that damage, they have a chance of generating you frenzy charges. And when they die to that, you will also gain Innervate. Alright, let's go back to this place. And I'm just going to show you how Orb of Storms work. So first let's look at the tooltip, 23,300. Yeah, and if we put Orb of Storms, you see we generate frenzy charges. We have 3 frenzy charges, and we have Innervate. Innervate means, and we have Onslaught. All these 3 buffs are thanks to Orb of Storms, Onslaught, Innervate, and Frenzy from Icebite. Of course, I mean, we are Blood Aqueducts, this is a level 60 zone, whatever, but the point is that you can generate these buffs even on tier 16 maps. It will be always active, even on tier 16 maps. That's what I've been doing. Right, once your character is strong enough, you're going to be farming tier 16s, and of course your Orb of Storms is going to go up to 36k, because, well, it is, yeah, it's doing some work. We got all the buffs up with Arcane Surge and all that. Right, so this is your Orb of Storms 4-link setup, very, very good. And of course, 28,000 instead of that, what it was, I don't know, it was 23.3, right? So 28,000. That gives us 5k tooltip DPS increase, just for you to understand what just this setup. And the thing is that, you know, you don't go around and place Orb of Storms everywhere. Just when your buffs are down, like you'll go and you destroy stuff, right? And every once in a while you'll drop an Orb of Storms to refresh to refresh these buffs, and yeah, it will do exactly that. So this is the setup. Outside of that, lastly, we're going to talk about the boots. Boots enchant. There are several boots enchant that you want. First, what you need to know about boots. If you haven't crit recently, if you haven't killed recently, refers to generally in the last 4 seconds. If you crit, then this bonus will be nullified, right? Because you crit, and the bonus says if you haven't crit. But mines are the ones performing the actual crits. Mines are actually performing the actual kills, right? Mines, traps, totems. That means that enchant like this, 120% increased critical strike chance, if you haven't crit recently, will be activated all the time. All the time. Because, yeah, we never really crit. We never really kill ourselves. So this will be activated all the time. So this is a very, very strong enchant for us. We want to have it. Other enchants are damage penetration if you haven't killed recently, and flat 1 to 160 lightning damage if you haven't killed or if you haven't crit recently. These are the enchants that we want. Alright, yeah, that is basically it. With it, we're going to have our, you know, crit 35.4. Without it, it's going to be 29. So that's very, very powerful. It's like increased critical strike chance gem, basically. Right. Outside of that, are, you know, damage mods. We basically have, this is some temple mod, doesn't matter, just a lot of spell damage. Physical is extra, non-physical is extra. If it's a shaper item, we can get that. Physical is extra. Shaper mods that we can get. I don't know if I have it. I do not currently. Unfortunate. Never mind. But you get the idea. Something like Did I not have it? There. So physical is extra cold, physical is extra lightning, physical is extra fire. These kind of mods can spawn on weapons, on shapers weapons, daggers, wands, scepters. It doesn't matter. What matters is that it has good damage rolls. Outside of that, the implicit is the implicit. Some will have spell damage, some will have crit, some will have elemental damage. It really doesn't matter if it's a dagger, a wand, or a scepter. What matters is that it will have good rolls. So you just keep your best weapons, and for me it just means wands at this point. So just to show you what I have on my SSF, just some spell damage, global crit multi, spell damage, global crit multi, a little bit of mana here, you know, a little bit of flat lightning damage to spells, and that is basically it. The belt, you could do fossil crafts. We're not going to get into that too much, but you know, Rustic Sash, because it's global physical damage, and Glacial Cascade is a physical spell. See, 22.7. If we use it, it is 23.3. So we could totally do that. Use the Rustic Sash. Outside of that, you can definitely use Stygian Vice. I'm playing Soul Self-Found, so Stygian Vice obviously with flat added damage, with global crit multi, with life, all sorts of stuff like that. And of course, you could always craft with fossils using, you know, frigid fossils, pristine fossils for life, prismatic fossils. I don't have prismatics at the moment. I think I used them all up. I tried to craft a belt, didn't really work. Oh, we got some prismatic. So basically, yeah, prismatic and pristine. You want to use on like a 2-socket fossil, and you want to get a belt that is eye level 86, something like that. You just scour and prismatic, pristine, trying to hit something like this. Life, elemental damage, resists, only much higher, and I need a lot of lightning resist. So yeah, that's basically it. If we compare it, it's not that much more, it's a little bit more. But of course it has the socket, and that makes it a bit more, right? Because inside the socket you could put life, you could put all sorts of other damage mods. So that's basically it. I think I pretty much covered every single thing there is to talk about this build. If you have any questions, use the information below. Use the comments below. Leave comments. But I don't know. I may not check it. So I'm live on Twitch pretty much all the time. You guys are more than welcome to come visit me. Say hello in the chat. I'm streaming on Twitch TV/MosesPlays. 2.5 years of Path of Exile, grinding, doing some awesome stuff. You guys are always invited. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed and learned something. Thank you very much for watching. And I realized it was a pretty long guide, but you know, there was a lot to talk about, and I really tried to keep it as light as I possibly can. There is still things that I could still say about this build, and I can still talk about it. You know, there's, for example, just to toss you an idea, a way to sacrifice the additional mine and use something like this. Okay, this is going to blow your mind. Where is it? Malachi. It's here somewhere. Okay, check this out, guys. So you sacrifice a mine, right? But you get cold damage, fire damage, and lightning damage, and blood magic and mortal conviction. Malachi's Awakening right there. So pretty good, right? Pretty good. Just saying, this might actually be very good for traps. That's why I'm leveling ice traps. A little spoiler, but could also be good for mines. I mean, it's pretty insane. There are a lot of stuff we could continue talking about, but I mean, this video has to end at some point, and I'm choosing to end it here. Thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you guys on stream. Bye bye.